Welcome to another episode of Helping the Brave. I'm your host, Ed Parcaut, and today we have Brandon Ashcraft, Air Force vet, survivor, and fierce advocate for veterans and military family. We're going to dive deep into his service, struggles with PTSD, overcoming decades-long battle with VA, and how he's turning pain into purpose through advocacy, comedy, and creating projects. Join us for a powerful story on resilience and hope. Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut, host of Helping the Brave. Let's bring in our guest today, Brandon Ashcraft. It seems like we've been here a few times today.
Social media and having to do this way, man, it's the new era. I know. I feel your struggle. Good afternoon. It's nice to talk to you today. I've been looking forward to it.
All right. First question I have, I always start the show with what service and why? I mean, I can see it behind you, but anyway.
United States Air Force for, just a long line of veterans in my family. My dad was U.S. Army Air Corps in the Vietnam War, played two tours or one tour, Purple Heart recipient. And so I was actually in college, and it was a family death that made me make my decision after I had already graduated with my AA. So when I took the ASVAB, I hit over 90% on it. And I went to the Air Force with my graduation, that score. And they said, hey, join us. We'll give you 2 stars. We'll give you the job that you want, and we'll send you where you'd like to go. And I was good with everything minus the where I wanted to go part. And I took it. And I went in with rank. I was guaranteed security police, which is what my father did. And easy decision for me, better food, better building.
Where did you go? Because you said you didn't like where you had to go.
We didn't know at that time, but my security police combat school was the second to last class to actually go through Fort Dix, New Jersey. That's where the Army and Air Force combat school for security police was. So we were actually trained with a mixture of Army, Air Force, and Rangers. So on the very last couple of days before you were allowed to trade your orders, I had hit 100%. I was the platoon leader, you name it. And one of the guys in my platoon did not want to go to Osan Air Force Base, South Korea. I had received orders for 2 years to go to Minot, North Dakota, which is not a good duty from what I understand. And he had a wife and kid. And at that time, I think it still is to this day, but Osan was considered a combat tour. So you're not allowed to have wife and kids over there. So I'm a good-hearted guy, born, raised in Iowa, like that. Veterans, service members, cops, firefighters in my family. So I took his orders, 2 years, and I was off to Osan Air Force Base, South Korea. Wound up working a lot with tactical patrol units, dogs. I did a lot of point man work. I guess it's in the blood. I was really good at it. So.
And so you were there for 2 years. My son just got back from a tour over to South Korea. So
yeah, and back then, and it's on me and my significant other's list. I would love to go back. I am a huge fan of the Korean culture to this day. I love my Korean food, but I will not eat Americanized Korean food. I need genuine Korean food, and you can get that at like Gen Korean Food, GEN. We go to Vegas once in a while for that. But yeah, but that's it. Don't let them fool you. That 2 years was very intense, even though there's not shots being fired. There was one live incident during my time, the little mini sub that got across from the northern border, and actually a group from our base pushed those guys into the base south of us. I remember that, but we did spend day in, day out in the field practicing, because security police in a situation like that, they have the responsibility of the 50-mile perimeter around the base. And, we're teamed with the Army there. So it was an intense, and we were in combat mode. We were in the movie, I believe it was Independence Day, and they fired one off, and bam, this was right away. I'm on base 48 hours, and we're in Operation Full Eagle, FOAL. And, so intense tour. And then I decided I could have chose what I wanted because of that combat tour. And I just saw the islands. I should have stayed where I was. Chose Anderson Air Force Base, Guam. Kind of a mistake, because I didn't look into what was going on over there. And when I left a very intense combat tour, which I'm allowed to say, but I have no disrespect to those that saw real combat. We saved lives. We didn't take lives in my time. So Anderson Air Force Base was smack dab in the middle of Operation Pacific Haven, which was the 7,500 Kurdish refugees back in the 90s that Saddam had nerve gassed and Clinton sent the bombers over, blah, blah, blah. Back then, it was a classified mission. It is now declassified to this day.
Gotcha. How long did you stay in?
4 years.
And was that just because your tour was up, or you had other plans, or you just like, you know what, this is not for me anymore?
Well, I got to tell you, Ed, it wasn't by choice. I'm thankful for a portion of the reason it happened, but it was not. It was a psychological situation the Air Force missed, and I actually became the brunt of the Air Force making an example of some very, very minuscule financial misconduct. Even though I had 5 EPRs, I was testing from A1C to staff sergeant. They missed it. When I was 19, my baby sister was 11. She suffered a lot of very serious problems because of my dad's toxins. I go into her room one Sunday morning in 1991. My mom's screaming. I go to CPR. Her vomit comes back up in my mouth. I'm the first one to realize my sister was dead. My dad's a firefighter at the time. 7 years to the fact, we get called. And when you're inside a refugee camp, mind you, the guys inside the perimeter, no weapons. Okay. And you're talking Kurdish refugees. So there's a stretch of houses with suspected terrorists and other things that happen that I will not tell you. Anyway, we get called to one of the houses, me and Staff Sergeant Marquez, and it's about the same age little girl, just out of her mind, man. She was nerve gas. She took a hard hit and she was trying to commit suicide. I was the first on the scene. I kicked the door open. I kept my boot in there until I could get behind her and wrapped her up. She bit me. You can't see it, but it's there for life. And the last thing I truly remember is watching her go out on a gurney, responsive, as opposed to my sister. And doctors have told me to this day, I went PTSD. I took some leave that I had coming to me because I had the yearning to go home to my mom. And that's where it began.
Okay. And sorry about that. I talked to so many vets with other issues when it comes to PTSD and everything we deal with. And one of the things that we don't do is we don't deal with it well. So
especially the way they left me and the 26 years of unnecessary punishment, which I'm very grateful right now, as I just found out they were wrong, not me. Not me, man. I work right now, if you could see on the screen. Excuse me. I was hoping not to do this.
It's all right.
I'm actually the security director for an organization called cadenceplace.org. We deal with bridging the gap between civilian and military resources. I had to find a way because they took my yearning to serve this country for 20 years and honor my father's Purple Heart. And I met up with the founder of this one, a very abused wife of a Marine, and some very bad stuff that happened. And we are bridging the gap between military and civilian resources when it comes to, and yes, this is a problem, domestic violence, sexual assault, and trafficking victims of United States military families. We have a rescue unit. We have support units. We have housing. We can get these victims housings. I've been on rescues. I'm the leader of the team. I've been called to the border 2 or 3 times and then called back. I've been on base rescues here. I will not say the base for security purposes. This is an organization founded by Dr. Stephanie, again, no last name for security purposes, who I am so honored to work for because her nightmare started 12 years ago, and I was brought on as her personal security. Her Marine was trying to take her life because her accusations would ruin his career. And it was intense, man. And it's intense work. But I've seen guys get away with some nasty things, beating kids, raping kids, get out with honorables. I've literally seen a guy who raped one of our staff board members' daughter in the Air Force, and they gave him an honorable, and she took her own life.
Yeah, it's horrible. So when you said that and I want to go back a hair, after you,
Certainly.
deal with your PTSD, what did the service do? Just like,
We all missed it.
I know, but did they just
We
let
all
you
missed
go?
it. So what happened is, after I got home from leave, I was still a mess, and it started to show on duty. And there was one night I was actually on the outskirt post with weapon. And it's a weird scenario how it happened. I got up during chow that night with my supervisor right there, and I kind of caught the table, and it tore my uniform. Well, I had to go back on post with the weapon right there. Master Sergeant comes up, sees me, says, "Something's wrong with you. You're having a lot of personal problems." Now, they knew it. They knew it. And then he pulled my weapon in front of everybody on post, and they put me off duty. I did a lot of cleaning up around Anderson Air Force Base, trash, and worked the buffer a lot. And all of a sudden, I'm called to the captain's office, Major Franzik, a great major. I loved my job. I loved serving, and I was read charges. I was read charges. They took everything that was going on, and if you look at it, it literally is some bounce checks in that time frame I was on leave, and that was it. That's the only thing that showed. And man, they took it, and well, you know what they did? They shoved it foxtrot to the cluster.
So they kicked you out, I assume, is what we're saying.
We didn't know what was going on. I was a nightmare. So my useless Air Force attorney at that time convinced me to take a special court martial to avoid the general discharge, because it didn't look very good on me right at that time. And I tried to explain what happened to the people, to them. And I wrote this in a statement. It should be in my file. And I tried to read the statement about my sister and the little Iraqi girl to the judge, and he rolled his eyes. And the next thing you know, I'm stripped of my entire life's work, sentenced to 4 months in the brig. I forget. It wasn't the full amount under a special, and that's it. I never saw, I was out. Not dishonorable, called a BCD back then, big chicken dinner, bad conduct discharge. And the next thing I know, I'm in naval brig, which was okay because it was like 3 of us. We were allowed to smoke, read the Bible. Before you know it, I'm on a C-130 in handcuffs. I bounced some checks, mind you, Ed, a few checks, less than $5,000, less than $3,000. I'm on a C-130 in handcuffs with 4 gentlemen that had been throwing parties because they were methamphetamine addicts while on duty. I'm marched in handcuffs through Kadena Air Force Base terminal in front of all of these Air Force folks, driven out to Camp Hansen, Marine Corps Brig, Okinawa. 2 a.m, I have a 23-year-old Marine who doesn't have rank, who didn't do his time yet, in my face screaming. I triggered so bad, I was on the floor. I have the shakes to this day. I have them right now talking to you. And I don't know if we're rated R or rated PG, but I became a little B word. I had emotional problems and ADHD as a kid. Technically, they shouldn't have let me serve because of dad's toxins, and I took Ritalin as a kid. Another story. And it was a horrible 4 months, man. They put me on Prozac the whole time. I hope that it's in the brig files from back then, and it says PTSD then, because then what I've just spent the last year doing with the VA and finding out what I'm finding out, the regulations just changed. By next year, I should have my VA benefits while I go chase my discharge upgrade. They made a mistake.
So I want to right here, because I think everybody needs to go get the benefits. And if you don't have somebody helping you, don't go. I mean, I don't want to knock the VSOs and all those, but they're not really there to help you. You need to find somebody who can really help you. I finally got my benefits after 20 years of being told no, no, no. And a ranger helped me that I interviewed on here. He's a great guy. But because of what he did and how he helped me, I came up with so many different ways to do it faster and better. He's a great guy, but he's just not where we are. We're in California. You're in Southern California. I'm by the Bay Area, which is all the tech people. And so I have a whole different design. We're creating an app to do it so that you can do it yourself and be done with it faster and not pay for it. And that's what we're working on. And that's through the Helping the Brave. So
Now, I want to point one thing out, that this is ironic. Now, we're 26 years into this. Now, I just found out after I took my it's character of discharge appointment last year with the VA. Immediately after they made their decision, the regulations changed 2 days after. And now all I have to do is take that exact file and send it off to Texas. And that's the best thing. So, especially anyone listening, if you have a less than dishonorable discharge, it's a lot harder if you're dishonorable. But the regulations have changed. I have studied this for 26 years. I have been shot down. I have lived a nightmare none of you would understand. There is a lot of hope right now if you did something minor and were made an example of, or if you didn't mean to do it. Your mental state is huge when it comes to the new regulations if it's other than dishonorable discharge. So don't ever give up hope. I do it all the time, but
yeah, no, they just changed that to where they're re-looking at all those to move them up to honorable, so, or at least get you some benefits, even though that's what they are. And
I've written 2 presidents. I've written Congress. You have no idea how desperate I am to prove to somebody that, I would have served this country for 20 years. It was very important to me. And so at least I found a way after that nightmare with what I'm doing. It's crazy to say, but thanks to that nightmare, I am where I am today. And I'm very proud to be able to work in the organizations and start another division of our organization next year with veterans and all veteran support.
All right, so I want to go there, but before we go there, back to, all right, so you said you've been working on this a year to get your bad discharge changed, not discharge, but to have them look at it, and then, but you put in a package for the VA and you got denied, right?
Well, what was going on is I had a very nasty accident 2 years ago. It took a year to get to it, but I don't, us, I don't do meds. I don't do surgery. I don't do hospitals. And I fought the lawyers and everybody, but I was in bad shape. So I had a surgery here, total freaking PTSD, subconscious PTSD problem in recovery. 12 to 13 people had to come there just because I freaked and didn't realize it. Anyway, I went off the deep end. I started calling. I could show you 60 calls from the suicide prevention line VA. And I just figured, fuck it. Oh, sorry. I didn't know where.
We're good.
I figured, screw it. And I went on forward with it. I just wanted to find out. And in the beginning, it was like, and this is under a different administration. There's a difference. I'm not
Brandon,
choosing sides.
Did you get benefits or not? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
No. On the first time out, no.
Yeah. And so
on a full run, no.
Yeah, because you did, and right now you put in to have it looked at again, right? Already?
No.
You need to, because in December, PTSD changes again, and it's not better for us, it's better for the VA system for them to rate us. So you want to go and do your intent to file now. For anybody listening, you need to do your intent to file before December so that you go under the old rule, not the new rules.
Okay, we are planning it, but I have to go in a different direction because I'm in the character of discharge situation. So my appeal actually has to go to the Office of Records and whatnot through Texas, but it's going to take my letter, the EPR showing no disconduct, but 30 days worth. And the fact that I'm trying to find the diagnosis, if I can find it somewhere, if it's in my file. I haven't seen my medical brig or none of that. Then the VA will turn on my VA benefits for theirs. They're going to find me honorable for VA benefit purposes. But in the meantime, I am going to have to file an entire separate one with a separate department, which is the Discharge Upgrade Board. And that is one that's only heard and seen every 2 years usually. And I'm actually requiring to do that in person in DC. But I don't have everything that I need for that. So trust me, after everything I've been through 26 years, I'm very just happy knowing. And yes, you are right about December. We will have ours often in the mail before that regulation changes.
Well, it's just all you do is go online and you do your intent to file. That's all you do.
So that's something I got to do with the VA too. Okay, cool. Well, wait, does that matter if I've already got filed for PTSD compensation?
Yeah, but I don't know what did they denied it. You said, but you're going in for rating increase for your discharge. right? That's what
Right.
you're going in for, and you have to get that first.
But I had to file a claim to get that whole COD process. So I did actually file a claim.
Okay, and those claims are usually good for 1 year for retro.
Okay. So I got to go back. Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know that, Ed. I will talk to my rep on that.
So check with that, because, and that's why a lot of times, depending on who you're going through, they don't stay on top of things, because they, there's companies out there make really good money off of us, which is fine. As long as I went with the guy who I paid to have him help me. And then from what I learned from what he helped me, and now I'm helping everybody else. And we're again, bottom line.
Ed,
what?
I'm paying a guy to help me. This is what I got my Nexus. I have everything I need. It just, here's the thing. I have to have time and space to sit down and read this and relive it, because it takes the life out of me. And right now it's at my age and my health, that triggers for 48 hours could take me out. So I have to be very cautious, make sure she's home.
Are you going through? You see, you're not even going through the VA for anything right now, not even for any PTSD help or anything, right?
No, but there is a program down at Liberty Station that I want to get into. They do PTSD counseling. We've already spoke. They're not VA affiliated, but everything that goes on in those meetings is logged into your VA file.
I know. Because here's with us. So when I went through the process, I came back and I got denied for PTSD, because when I submitted my package, because I had to finish it before that year. I went through and got my behavior health. So if you go through behavior health and they give you medicine with the VA, you're already diagnosed with PTSD. That's your diagnosis right there. Then they send you to see your psychiatrist or whatever and then whether it's in VA or outside through community care. And the problem is that stuff didn't make it into my VA benefit package, because it was after I submitted and I didn't fill out the form just so they could see my new stuff. So for myself, I'm just going through the process, and I reapplied again, but I'm at 92, which they round me down to 90. I only needed, if I would have gotten one of the two of the other things, I would have been 100%. So, but they, again, it's knowing how to package stuff up right from the beginning that a lot of people don't know how to do very well.
We're doing a couple different angles, but at this point in time, I am only have access to emergency and psychiatric care through the VA. So we are not using it. I am using civilian. I am using, like you said, a guy that's working with the Nexus, because when we're also trying to find out the files where they first said PTSD, which could be 40 years ago. And on the side note,
it doesn't matter as long as you have a Nexus letter.
Yes, and we're working on that. And there's 4 different angles. And I want to point out that it's very strange to me that I'm this long still fighting this. My father, one word in his medical file, and a grenade blew him off his horse. TBI, the works, blew out his teeth. 40 years over one word in his medical file. He fought the VA, and his attorney that won for him a very, very handsome back pay settlement just retired. It's like found they weren't going to take me on until the VA officially denied me. They had to have that denial, and the day they denied, Dad calls me and tells me the guy retired. So it's just, but I am very happy. I stuck with it. I listened to everybody for the first time, and I'm just happy to know that there is a very bright light at the end of the future, because of my PACT Act and the things that the brig have caused me severe problems because of that time and what I've been through. We're in pretty good shape, and that's a stress that I've waited a long time to get off my shoulders. So I'm very happy about that, and it did lead me to this amazing situation in life anyway.
Good. And with this one last thing about this, and I want to ask you some other questions about the PTSD, that going through that process. So I had lost 60 pounds before that. Then going through the process, getting ready through the VA and all that, I gained 25 pounds back dealing with the stuff that I've dealt with. So it's when you go through the VA for your PTSD and dealing with that stuff, you have to deal with it. So it will mess with you. And that's, and people don't understand that. And that for most of us vets, we won't deal with it until we've ruined every relationship and we're in our late 40s, early 50s. And we need to help people get through this a lot faster. Brandon, so what are you doing now? Because you were talking about the whole Netflix thing when we first were getting.
Yeah, I'll quickly get into it. There was a very embarrassing situation. There was no official discharge. I was tired of the Air Force at that point. They were tired of me. I had gotten into a comedy group out on Guam. I think it was Guam or Hawaii, and they were working with big names. Tommy Davis and Gary Owens was coming out, and I got a job with this guy promoting. Anyway, the sister, the little girl, working in this comedy thing and going on tour around the Pacific, being around Kevin Hart before he made it. Felicia from Friday, still a friend of mine. I came up with something. I cannot tell you the truth of it. And in the end, I'm tired of the hate. When I was a young kid, I was bullied. I got along with the African American crowd at college. I had a different name in college. So I created a show called What's Up, My Neighbors? I just took racism out in one word. We started filming years ago. The secret behind it secured with my executive producer. I've done time in the last 26 years. I've worked with 50 Cent, Gordon Ramsay in 2018. Season 1, 24 Hours to Hell and Back. Episode 5, I'm the tour driver. My career was picking up. My show, which is a sketch, comedy, music, we strictly stick to not talking about politics, sex, race, religion, other than veteran stuff. We believe that Hollywood is a different entity and should not whatsoever be involved in that crap because it makes our country worse. And we were almost on the Netflix stage. Pandemic hits. Governor shuts us down 3 days before the deal. Few months ago, while I'm down on medical leave, I've had some time to just work on my podcast. I've already got the radio show ready to launch across the country. And all of a sudden, my producer calls and they says, hey, she signed the NDA. She knows exactly what's going on. And they challenged us to come up with some stuff on YouTube by December 1st, while I'm actually filming my podcast down at a beach bar in Ocean Beach, where Slightly Stupid comes from, another inspiration of mine. And they've offered us $1 million to get our pilot shoot out, which is very cheap cost for them because this is $1 billion idea and it will change the narrative, not only in this country, but it could change the narrative worldwide. It'll definitely change the Hollywood narrative when I get it out. And all we have to do is come up with 1 million subscribers and a good viewing going on YouTube. And since I've had to teach it to myself, in the last 3 days, we put up over 70,000 views, and I like a challenge. I told my producer, let's go. Tell them to make sure they spell my name right on the check. And the best part is, should we not meet that December 1st deadline, it's even better for us because 1, my price tag goes up come January 1st. 2, honestly, this is the most powerful we've been in this process. It's been over 10 years. My producer business partner is a Navy pilot who used the education program from the Navy. He's got his MBA from UCLA and finished up with an entertainment law degree out of Pepperdine. We have multiple businesses going, 2 nonprofits. And I finally just got it done because the universe took me down this last 4 months with a spine problem. I spent some money, bought everything I needed, and we're just having fun, man. I've been doing stand-up comedy and radio and voiceover work since, and I just love it. And I hope this project is able to help me change the world and bring nothing. I'm going to dedicate half of the money to making sure that not one veteran has to sleep in the streets or has to be scared of life ever again. And by the way, thank you, adjoin.org, nationwide organization, for taking me and my service dog off the streets, paying our rent, getting us a bed, getting us food, and getting me back to life last year in June. As well, Canine Companions out of Riverside County. I have the most amazing service dog in a shepherd husky named Athena. She's very highly intelligent. She's also a Kardashian. Thank you so much for the work you've done for us. And service dogs are the answer for PTSD, by the way.
Yes, they are. And so are just companion dogs.
Yes, and what I've done with her,
there's a place called 22 Mohawks. They find dogs that are, strays, and they train them and give them to vets, and they haven't lost a vet since they've given them a dog.
And I love that. I love it. And I work with ADI trainers that are working with service dogs for my organization as well. So just I thank you, Canine Companions, because what I've done working and focusing on Athena's training, raising, grooming, everything it's been a wonderful. I feared for my life before Athena.
All right. Brandon, before we go, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, man, I think we were ready for this, minus difficulties. I appreciate you. If you'd like to talk to the a founder of my organization on your show, let me know. I'll get you her information. She did get her doctor from USC after her nightmare, and she's a nationwide speaker on the subject.
Yeah, I'd love to have her on. I want every vet on and connected, people to it, and anybody helping veterans. I would love to have them on. So
you got it. We will keep in touch via email. Ed, thank you for your service. You are my brother.
All right, thank you for your service. Before you go, hey, we do a firewalk up here every year. We've done 2 of them for veterans, and we do about an hour before motivation. Then we do a walk across coals, like a real Tony Robbins event. And the reason I call it that is because of the guy that works for me and helps me on the firewalk part. He worked for Tony Robbins for 20 years as his fire captain. So,
man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So you're only a few hours away. So.
I would love to send me the info. And just so you know, too, when the pandemic knocked it down, when we get back to scheduling, every year with cadenceplace.org, we hold a summer camp for children at certain ages, military children, in or out of the service, parents that have been abused, sexually assaulted, trafficked, or anything like that. So that would be something we'd love to be able to combine. This is something that needs to be done. Not one veterans should be struggling. Thank you so much, Ed. I appreciate you.
Our next one is so we moved it from May to right before Veterans Day in 2026, because the problem is we want it darker in the evening, because otherwise we have to do a span of 3 to 4 hours of talking and everything else. Nobody wants that. Everybody wants to get right to the firewalk. So that's the whole purpose of doing it. So
pencil me in. I'll bring the camera crew and we'll come up and do an episode about it as well. I'd love it. I love it. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, stay connected with me, and so it's the weekend before Veterans Day in 2026. That's the next time. OperationFirewalk.com is where it's at. I'll have the updated information up there within the next 30 days. So
everybody go to WHASUPMYNEIGHBAS. What's up, my neighbors? On every platform, podcast, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Join the revolution to take back Hollywood and change the world. We need love, not hate.
All right, Brandon, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Ed.
And that's a wrap for today's episode, Helping the Brave. A big thanks to Brandon Ashcraft for sharing his powerful story from serving in the Air Force, facing adversity, and overcoming PTSD to help military families through cadenceplace.org and launch creative projects to inspire change. This is what resilience looks like. Stay connected, and remember, you're never alone on this journey. Until next time, keep moving forward.